The Ute, it's ours. We invented it, we perfected it, and we loved it like no other country ever could. From the farm to the suburbs, from the racetrack to the beach, the Australian Ute was absolutely everywhere. It was a work vehicle that could embarrass sports cars on weekends. Only in Australia could you buy a Ute with a V8 that made 400 horsepower. Only here did the Ute become a legend. These are the 10 greatest Aussie Utes ever made. The Kingswood Ute was everywhere in the 70s and 80s. Farms, building sites, your neighbor's driveway. If you needed a Ute and you had a budget, you bought a Kingswood. It was affordable, which mattered to regular blokes who could work it hard and not worry about it. Not everyone could stretch to a Premier or a GTS, but the Kingswood was attainable. Kingswood Utes were built tough for Australian conditions. That 202 or 253 six-cylinder engine was unbreakable. The tray could carry anything, and the suspension could handle overloading that would have killed other vehicles. They weren't fancy. No power steering in most cases, and air conditioning was a luxury, but they were honest, reliable workhorses that asked for nothing and gave you everything. You still see them today working after 40+ years. That tells you everything you need to know. After all that insanity, let's talk about something simple for a moment. Released in 1996, the XH was everything the modern Australian Ute needed to be at the time. Practical, reliable, comfortable, and affordable. It had a smooth ride for a Ute. The interior was decent, and you could spec it with the 4.0-liter inline 6 that was absolutely bulletproof, or go for the V8 if you wanted. The XH became the default choice for tradies, councils, and businesses across Australia because it just worked. No drama, no fuss. You bought one, you worked it for 300,000 kilometers, and it never complained. Ford sold them by the thousands, white ones mostly, usually with a roof rack and a few dents. They became part of the Australian landscape. It wasn't fast or special, it was just brilliant at the job. The WB one-tonner wasn't subtle, and it wasn't pretty. It was a big, heavy-duty workhorse designed to carry a ton and not care about it. Released in 1980 as part of the WB series, the one-tonner was built for serious work with a stronger chassis, bigger payload, and tougher suspension. This was for blokes who needed to carry actual weight. You saw them on farms, in mining towns, and at industrial sites carrying machinery, building materials, and livestock. The WB proved Holden understood that not every Ute customer wanted style or performance. Some just needed maximum capability. That long tray could swallow anything. The 202 or 253 engines were understressed and reliable, and the whole thing was built to cop a beating. They're rare now because most worked themselves to death doing exactly what they were designed for. The F6 Ute was Ford's answer to a simple question. What if we made a Ute that was absolutely ridiculously fast? That turbo inline 6 produced 310 kilowatts in early models, and later versions pushed even harder. This thing could genuinely shift. But unlike the V8 Utes, the F6 had a different character altogether. That Turbo 6 was smooth, efficient, and delivered power in a way that felt almost effortless. It was a sleeper in the best way. You'd see an F6 Ute and think it was just another Falcon, then it would disappear into the distance. The F6 proved you didn't need 8 cylinders to be fast. That Turbo 6 was one of the best engines Ford Australia ever built. Tradies who bought F6 Utes had the best of both worlds going on. Work vehicle during the week, weapon on weekends. The F6 Ute was one of the quickest performance Utes ever built, and it did it with 6 cylinders. Before the F6, there was this machine, and it changed everything about performance Utes. When Ford dropped the Turbo 6 into the AU Ute in 2002, they created something really special, real performance in an affordable package. The XR6 Turbo made around 240 kilowatts, which was serious power, especially for the time. And unlike the V8s, it was achievable for regular people. Young blokes absolutely loved them. You could buy an XR6T Ute, use it for work during the week, then embarrass V8s at the lights on weekends. And the aftermarket went absolutely crazy for it. That Barra engine responded brilliantly to modification, so you could have 300, 350, and maybe even 400 kilowatts without breaking the bank. The XR6 Turbo Ute proved that performance Utes didn't have to be V8s. It democratized fast Utes and made them accessible. If you are enjoying the video so far, subscribe if you want. It means a lot to me. Performance Ute that ran from 1999 to 2017, and it was always absolutely mental. Every generation had serious power. This Ute wasn't trying to be subtle about anything. Big wheels, aggressive body kit, badges everywhere. It looked fast, and it absolutely was. But here's what made it special beyond just the power. It was genuinely practical. You could use it as a real Ute. The tray actually worked. And then you could go destroy sports cars on a back road. HSV built thousands of these over nearly 20 years, and they became the performance Ute that everyone knew. Tradies who'd done well bought them. Enthusiasts who needed something practical bought them. These were the Mad Max Utes with that aggressive, muscular shape and those bold lines. The XB, especially, just looked tough. Released in 1973 and running through to 1979, the XB and XC Utes were built during Ford's muscle car era. You could spec them with a 302 or 351 Cleveland V8 for real power. They were popular on farms and in the outback. Anywhere you needed a Ute that was as tough as the country itself. The styling has aged brilliantly. You see an XB or XC Ute today, and it still looks mean with that long bonnet and aggressive stance. And because of Mad Max, they achieved cultural immortality. The XB Falcon is one of the most recognizable Australian vehicles in the world. The modern Holden Ute reached perfection between 2002 and 2013. They looked absolutely fantastic, aggressive, muscular, and modern. That VE especially was a genuinely beautiful design. Under the bonnet you had the Gen 3 or Gen 4 V8, and in SS form that meant 260 to 270 kilowatts. But more than that, these Utes were actually good to drive, comfortable ride, decent handling for a Ute, and real practicality. These were the Utes that defined the 2000s and early 2010s in Australia. They were everywhere, and every tradie who wanted something decent bought one. It had to be this one, didn't it? The Holden Utes weren't just vehicles. They were Australian icons. From 1971 to 1984, these Utes were absolutely everywhere. Farms, suburbs, building sites, beaches. Every Australian had a connection to them because your dad had one or your uncle had one. The styling was absolutely perfect with that long, low shape and those clean lines. The HQ, especially, is one of the most beautiful Utes ever designed. You could buy them in different forms. Base model Belmont with a 6-cylinder for work. Kingswood for families. Premier for luxury. Or the Sandman for the beach. And if you wanted performance, you could spec a GTS with a 308 V8. But what made these Utes truly legendary was their toughness. They could handle Australian conditions like nothing else. They took it all and kept going. The Australian Ute is gone now. We don't build them anymore, and that's a loss that genuinely hurts. Give it a like and share it with someone who misses the days when you could buy a V8 Ute.